Meeting got closed, is it?
Mohan, you can continue, sir, please.
Yeah. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Okay. Good evening to one and all. At the outset, on behalf of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, CSI, ACM, and IEEE Computer Society, let me once again welcome you all to this webinar on cloud-based information technology solutions to MSMEs. It may be of interest to note that 65 million MSMEs in India contribute about 30% of India's GDP, employ about 110 million people, and also constitute nearly 40% of the total exports. While these MSMEs play a major role in the country's economy, their survival is under stress due to increased cost of financing, input raw material cost, labor cost, and global competition combined with lower margin and extended credits, etc. While IT enabling their operations promises improved bottom line, many are reluctant, fearing high initial investment in IT infrastructure, complicated licensing of software, expensive and difficult to hire and retain talented people to manage the IT operations. However, new models are emerging to be adopted by MSMEs to ensure their survival and to digitize their operations. Online collaboration tools and other facilities have come in handy to many enterprises to carry on with their businesses not only within the country, but across the globe. Cloud computing is one such facility which enables the technology deployment in the enterprises to control the cost and meet the growing and demanding customer expectations. The cloud computing operates on a pay-per-use basis model, eliminating the capex and cost associated with management of infrastructure and applications, and enables the enterprises to focus on their core business and optimize the returns. The cloud computing handles the end-to-end transactions through ERP systems, including supply chain management, customer relations. Additionally, data management, including reporting, business intelligence, and decision support function, and automation through IoT are also supported through cloud-based solutions, offered at affordable cost, which can be treated as operational expenses. In this presentation, the speaker, Mr. Vijay Venkatesh, who has been associated with the MSMEs for over 15 years and offering cloud-based solutions, will discuss the tools and techniques that can be adopted by enterprises to flourish. With this brief introduction to the presentation, may I request Mr. Kamalakannan, the Vice Chairman of Computer Society of India, Chennai, to formally introduce the speaker. Over to Mr. KK.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan. So today I have the pleasure and privilege to introduce the speaker of the day, Mr. Vijay Venkatesh. So Mr. Vijay is the co-founder and managing director of Syscon Solutions Private Limited. Mr. Vijay has done his diploma in mechanical engineering from Central Institute of Technology, Adayor, Chennai, in the year 1983. After his diploma at the age of 18, I think Mr. Vijay is very proud about it. At the age of 18, he started his career and had worked for over 13 years for various manufacturing industries of small and medium enterprises. At the age of 31, he took the plunge into the entrepreneurship. With his vast domain expertise and deep experience in the various fields, in the year 1996, Mr. Vijay had co-founded Syscon Solutions, which promotes homegrown ERP products. Syscon, the product is Syscon Cronus for manufacturing, specifically for manufacturing industries. He is also passionate about creating digital enterprises. So Mr. Vijay is also a mentor at Bharati Yuva Shakti Trust since 2018, which is an NGO that promotes entrepreneurship. He has been an active speaker in many industry association fora and webinars, including several college programs that offer career guidance to the students. So he extensively supports industry academia initiatives, which is a field of interest and which is close to the heart of Computer Society of India, Chennai chapter. So what a better person we could have for today's topic, cloud-based solutions for some MSME. So welcome you, Mr. Venkatesh. Over to you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot for the nice introduction. I would like to really thank both Hindustan Chamber of Commerce and Computer Society of India for this opportunity. Mr. Suresh, can you? I just want to request if you can just allow me to share the screen, co-host. If you can make, then I can start.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No. I think Chitraji, please make him co-host.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Got it, sir?
1 minute, sir. I will give you.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Got it, sir?
It hasn't come. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it has come.
Yeah.
So probably once my screen comes, someone can let me know so that I can start.
It has come up.
Yeah, it has come.
We saw the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Vijay.
So formally, I would like to thank Computer Society Chennai and ACM and CSI Chennai, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce for hosting this program. Thanks a lot, sir. The topic is cloud-based IT solution for MSMEs. I thought I would be covering this from the current context, also talking about the application, and primarily I will also be focusing on adoption of the solution. Right, so that's what I thought. It will be more critical for the industry. So just give me a second. Okay. So, like in the opening session, both Mr. Suresh and Mr. Mohan, they have been telling that definitely we have the whole, not only the country, the whole world has gone on the huge trouble out of COVID, and it is still on. So the first and foremost thing is how are we going to strike a balance between physical and virtual assets, right? So right now we are on a Zoom call, so much of knowledge and so much of experienced people from various places, we are able to connect with each other, right? This is a fairly a great example for the virtual asset, right? So post-COVID, we are able to see this is a new world, new game, new rules, right? So that's the first thing we need to understand. And even now, things are being talked. We are not going to go back to our original, before COVID situation. So we need to start creating things from here, from this point. And individual society safety is the topmost priority criteria for post-COVID. Post-COVID, between the physical and virtual assets are becoming extremely important for industries to strike a balance. Statistics also talk 58% of the US workforce of the IT and knowledge industry are going to work permanently from home. And there are about 20,000 workforce of UK of Deloitte Consulting. They have been permanently asked to work from home. So workforce has been divided into two. One is a physical workforce and the virtual workforce. And when you are talking about the context of manufacturing, definitely there is no doubt. Definitely, the physical activities are must. When you are talking about manufacturing, shipment, material handling, quality control, there are a lot of physical things, right? And a lot of work can be done virtually. So that is what this presentation we are going to, discuss how those virtual things can be made, enabled, or utilized to the best. So now the effective usage of IT tools will be key for this transformation. That's very important. And the white collar and knowledge workforce has no geographical constraint. So you can, recruit people when you are talking about, sales, product design. There are many of the support functions can actually operate from anywhere. And the faster adapters will be able to survive and emerge stronger. That's something very important. We all need to keep this in mind. And I just wanted to, share a couple of examples here. We all know the, Marriott Hotel, one of the largest chain of, hotels in the world. And we also know Airbnb. So Airbnb, they don't hold any physical assets. And in terms of market capitalization, they are almost 2.5 times more than Marriott Hotel. We also know Hertz. So Hertz is the largest, fleet rental company in the US. And if you look at Uber and Ola, in terms of valuation, they are much, much higher than Hertz. They don't own even a single vehicle. So why I am giving the context, we all know, we must have seen these examples over and over several times. But we need to know the virtual assets are almost, equivalent or much more than the physical assets. Organizations need to, adopt these solutions to see that we are able to strike a balance. So what is net to net is, there is a physical asset has to leverage the virtual asset. The virtual asset has to leverage the physical asset. We are not saying about replacing it, but we are only talking about how these can coexist, right, in a given context. So let us also see some of the companies as an example. When you look at companies as an example, here we have the left side, we have IBM, Tata and Xerox, and right side we have Nokia and Kodak. So I have seen an interesting article. I have gone through the website very quickly. This article, I will just share the presentation, and I also requested, Hindustan Chamber Secretariat to share it with all the participants here. So you can also go through it. It says about company that failed to innovate and went bankrupt, right? So I'm just going to talk about a couple of things. And in this article, the article quickly talks about, the couple of points here, which was really interesting. The bottom line of the article says companies that do not respond to the market changes brought about by innovation, either because of the fixed mindset or perhaps they don't read the market right, tend to miss out the opportunities. Companies that don't evolve ultimately went under. The changes are big enough that an industry fundamental business model changes, the old school companies are at a risk of losing their market share and ultimately going bankrupt, right? So here they are only talking about, when we look at here, they're only talking about the adoption of technology, adoption of new market changes. They're only talking about this, right? So something what we need to bear it in mind is this is most critical for organizations when this is most critical for organizations to adopt for the changes. That's something, really important for them. Just a second. Okay. So I just want to talk about two important books. These books, I probably would like to take the book from here. This is the book which I continue to read. This is a book called Crossing the Chasm. I don't know whether the book is coming up or not. I don't know. Okay. This is the book I read, right? So there is one book is about what got you here won't get you there, right? So which means that I have found, when we go and talk to the, certain entrepreneurs or people who are slightly, senior entrepreneurs, they generally used to say, we have been doing this for the last 25 years and, we would like to continue doing that. So what is very important, we have to ask a question, what we are doing and why we are doing it. That's something very important, because we really don't know that what we are doing, whether it is relevant now or is there any better way to do it, right? So probably the book cover itself, talks. When the organization grows in the ladder to some point, if you have to go from here to here, what has come from the bottom to here will not be able to take you here, because you've got to do it very differently. You got to do it completely different, right? So that is what this book actually talks about. This is a very good book. And I encourage, people, if you are able to get out of this book, at least, a few pages will be able to give a lot of insights for you. And there's another book which I am so passionate about, the Crossing the Chasm book. This I keep reading every time when there is a problem in the business, or probably there's a roadblock, or there is any change in the market. I keep reading this book, though it's a old book, talks about, a lot of case studies about the company. And even today we can get a lot of insights about what is that we can do today, right? So from the Crossing the Chasm book, I found one thing, that universe keep changing, making changes incrementally on a daily basis. Okay, every day things will keep changing around us. The changes are probably a delta X change. Okay, when it start changing, it is very small. But over a period of time, the chasm slowly becomes 2x, 5x, 100x, and 1000x. When it becomes 100x, the gap becomes so wide, the organization cannot cross over, and they fall through this place. Okay, so when I say the crossing the chasm, it is not a curve which is going to happen one time. There are multiple curves. Okay, it is going to keep on going to come, one up, one down, one up, one down. It is going to come. So organization need to have a strategy that there is a chasm which is going to be there at every point of time, at every time interval, right? It is going to happen. And this is what, there are different names for this. We call it as Y2K, we call it as a .com bust, subprime crisis, COVID, we can give hundreds of names for this. But this is how that, globe keep changing itself. The changes continue to happen, and that is what we need to be geared up. And I very quickly want to talk about what is the change we have done within Syscon to survive this, the crisis. In the year 2018, my daughter works for a company called Zapier, and they have got about 600 people workforce now, but at that point of time they had about 240 people. And this company is a 10-year-old tech company based out of US, and they do not have an office from the day one. So it is a company which develops app integration utility for enterprises, for large applications. So by working for the company, my daughter always used to say, "Dad, you don't need an office." Okay. And I am from a traditional, business thought process. I used to work for TVS. I used to work for English Electric and Bakelite Ilam. These are all the companies. I always respect the physical meeting, looking at the people physically. And she has been persistent. She's been constantly telling me. And at 2018, we took a decision. Okay, we will try. So we told our, landlord that we have been there, in that particular location for more than about 10 years. So we told them 2018. Sir, we are vacating from 2019 April. We are not going to renew the contract. So he was asking, sir, are you going to shift the office? He said, no more shifting. We are closing down the office. We don't need an office at all, right? So this change took about 1 year for us. From 2018, when the employees go home, we generally ask them to extend their leave for about a week. We used to try that, right? It started working. It took 1 year. And believe me, sir, 2019, we closed the office. We have shifted all our assets to data center, and we started working from home. Everything stabilized. From 2019 to 2020 February, when the COVID hit, everybody was doing the same thing. So the only thing, we were well prepared for this change, and that was really helped. So all I am saying is the crossing the chasm keeps happening. We need to keep our eyes and ears very open so that we know what kind of changes our organization need to adopt. And we all know, right? Internet has changed the world. The world would not have survived without internet during the COVID, right? Today we talk about online schools for the students, and big companies moved their workforce of more than about 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh workforce has been shifted to home, and they've been continuing to serve the customers. All these things has happened, and I'm not really denying the flip side of it. Okay, that people sitting at home and doing that, there are flip side, there are problems. Okay, So that has to be addressed differently. But all I am saying is we could able to survive, and we should be thankful for internet for that. And otherwise, during COVID, most of us would not have survived actually to sit here and talk. And let us also look at the evolution of workforce. I want to give a small glimpse about how the workforce revolution has changed within the industry, so that I want to bring a parallel to the information technology adoption on cloud, right? I am very much on the topic, but I'm just giving certain parallels and examples so that we will be able to consume it better, right? So if you look at, from in my time, when I used to work for TVS, almost around 80% of the workforce were permanent employees, right? Only 20% were contract laborers. But today we can, look at our own organizations. Maybe some other places it is 50-50. Some places even it's about 40% permanent and 60% is all contract laborers. So why are we doing it? We are doing it because we do not know the order size, when the orders are going to come more, when it is going to come less. We don't want to have permanent overheads on the organization, right? And for that, what we do, we give it, we outsource, we give it for job work. And there are a lot of companies in pharma segment, many of the engineering segments also I have seen companies, they are 100% contract manufacturing company. Somebody gives a design for them, they just manufacture and give. And there are innovative organizations, the design organizations, they do about 95% of the items are bought out and subcontracted. They do only a final assembly, right? So they don't have any other facility. They only bring components and they assemble. And one step further, we also see a lot of companies who have got, very strong patents. They outsource 100% and they don't have any manufacturing facilities at all, right? Why they do? They only do because they want to focus only on their core competency. That's really very important, right? So I am taking the parallel to the next example. Why, what and why a cloud-based IT solution, right? So this is where, we need to see it is just a consolidation of the way the goods and services are consumed by removing the pain point with the cost advantage. Okay, this is the only thing which you have to remember, right? So in this whole presentation, I would only say these two lines are important, right? Why the IT-based, cloud-based IT solutions are important for the MSMEs today? Because things are getting consolidated, right? When I say things are getting consolidated, today we want plumber, carpenter, everybody, we go for urban clap, right? Because they have consolidated the workforce, right? So we don't know, when you call a guy from the market, carpenter or a plumber, you don't know whether the fellow will finish the job properly. If he doesn't do the work properly, whom you will go and ask, right? So there is an organization who have understood the pain point, and then they are validating the people. The job deliverables are, the scores are given by the end consumers. They have to definitely service the customer best, otherwise they are not going to get the next business. So the pain point is being taken care by the urban clap. And point number 2, cost advantage, right? Though you would be paying a small premium, you are sure of getting the work done properly, right? So that is what they are able to capitalize. And we talk about, the cloud kitchens, right? Yesterday, me and Mr. Mohan, we have been talking, beyond Swiggy and Zomato. I was staying in Chennai for, quite a while, during this pandemic, I was there in Chennai. So in Thiruvanmiyur area, there are so many caterers who are providing excellent food for a very affordable price on a, carrier, right? So which means the kitchens are becoming cloud, right? And the vehicles are becoming Uber and Ola, right? So the cloud vehicle. So everything is moving to the cloud. So when anything is going on cloud, remember only 2 points, right? There is a pain point which has been addressed. There is a cost advantage which has been happening there. There are 2 things, right? And anyway, out of a lighter sense, I want to ask the people, somebody can give me a quick response, unmute the mic and response. When do we use the cloud drivers? There are a lot of cloud drivers are available. Is there anybody who has used the services? When do we use them? Anybody? Okay, if nobody is responding, I'll give the answer. When we go for a pub in a Friday or Saturday evening, while coming back, you don't want to drive the vehicle, you can use cloud cloud drivers. Okay, they will safely take you back home. You don't have to be worried about police people. I'm just joking, right? So all I am saying is these are all the facilities available on cloud, right? Excellent. So I am trying to move into the main topic now, right? The IT system dynamics in the MSME, right? The COVID and GST is forcing the MSME to move on to the cloud IT solutions, really very, very important, right? So the GST is insisting on transparency. I think somebody has to mute the mic, I think. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Mr. Shyam Sundar, can you just mute your mic?
Mr. Shyam, please mute your mic, sir. Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So the first and foremost thing is the GST is insisting on transparency, right? And that the time for compliance is shrinking. So we should see it very carefully. Now earlier, we used to file returns once in a year, and probably the quarterly filing, annual filing will happen. We go and modify our invoices. We create new purchases, right? In the GST era, when the month is over, so we can only upload our sales, right? We can't, book our purchase bill because somebody's sale bill is our purchase bill automatically, right? The errors and correction in the GST era is complex. Okay, they are giving only a limited time window for you to make any corrections, right? And we all know that 20 crore and above companies have to comply for the e-invoicing. It was 50 crore, now it has become 20 crore now from 1st of April. The auditors are very strict about, the proper bookkeeping. There are many auditors, they are telling the companies I have seen that if they don't have the, books and accounts properly, maintained, they say we don't want to touch your audit, because auditors have got, heavy penalties if they are not, supporting the right clients, right? And COVID has taught to move anything and everything from physical to virtual, right? So this is what something very important. In fact, many of the companies are doing virtual audit, and of course we have been doing it last 8 years, right? Without even meeting our auditor. We have not even met our auditor for a very long time, almost 7-8 years we have not met our auditors. So they do the audit online, they do the submission, everything online. So this is all quite possible. The only thing is we have to make sure that we have our data what we maintain on IT backbone must be very simple, easy, and they are able to do all these things comfortably, right? Something very important which we need to keep it in mind, because now the environment is forcing. One side the business requirements are forcing, now the statutory side also there is a force. So this is something very important, we need to look into it. And I've also seen a quite interesting article, very simple article, which says why to choose IT on cloud, right? So this particular article, I will just share this article. You could just, go through this. And there are 5 major things which he is talking about, 5 ways which the cloud-based IT solution can help SME industries. This is a nice article I have found. And the topics I will just quickly cover. What are they talking about it here? Okay, so they talk these 5 points they mention here. The first one is modern technology and software. This is something very important, when you are going for a cloud adoption. So which means you all be able to get the latest maintained application which is available on cloud. And going for a cloud application, you have a distinct advantage, because whenever there has been a problem which has been happening on cloud, right? You are not the only customer who are using it. There are many customers who would be using it. So definitely one person is having a difficulty which will be faced by all other people. So the companies and the infrastructure team would actually jump to go and solve the problem quickly as possible. When you are maintaining it at your own premise, if something goes wrong, it is your problem, right? When it is there on cloud, it is a problem of the provider. So they would actually take care, because otherwise their business model will collapse. So this is something very important that we could, that the article talks about. The second point is like what, Mohan was telling so clearly. It is from the operational expenditure to the capital expenditure, right? This is something very important, that we are not going to spend too much of a capital amount in maintaining it. And when you are talking about a maintaining IT infrastructure within the organization, there are multiple challenges. I have seen many companies known to me in the MSME segment. They maintain a server, they maintain a email server. They'll also be maintaining a application server. So I have found many other times the servers are not maintained properly and they used to lose data, right? There are a lot of cyber attacks happens. They really don't know. They'll put a static IP and they try to maintain. They will have some person who have got a very limited knowledge about IT administration would be maintaining it. And they will also be taking service from my external people who will come and support them once in a week. That's really not sufficient, right? And the second important point, on the scale of cost, they cannot afford to have full-time, well-knowledgeable IT administrators. Like, you can recall what I have told in the earlier slides. This is a consolidation. So in a consolidation, people try to go for a greener pastures. So definitely a good IT administrator is definitely not going to sit in a place where you have got one server and 5 computers, right? So his knowledge of learning things, learning curve will be very limited, right? And he also can't afford to pay them very high. So that is another thing. The consolidation will actually not helping the MSMEs to maintain the IT infrastructure internally. And this article also talks about with examples saying that affordable IT and MIS, the organization is spending up to 5 lakhs, it will actually come to 1.5 lakhs, right? So this is what this article talks about. And I also subscribe, for these numbers to definitely to larger extent. So there are solutions available which can be used within the lesser budget that you will be able to meet the business objective. And then the next important point is taking away the fear of technology. So most of the times what happens when we are going to invest on technology on in-house, the technology obsolescence, technology upgradation, all these things becomes a headache of the MSME. So that has been taken away. Ease of access and widespread reach. So this is also something very important. When you go on cloud, you'll be able to access the application securely from wherever you are, right? So this is what is actually going to enable the virtual workforce able to contribute for the organization. Some of the people are not able to come to the physical workplace to work. And if they are on administrative side, they can happily work from wherever they are and still be able to discharge the responsibility and the work assigned to them in a most befitting way, right? So these are all the things which are all the reason why to choose IT on cloud. This is, now the next 4 or 5 slides, next coming slides, I'm going to talk about the digital transformation. Okay, this is something very important. People are organizations. I also see that the companies think, okay, I will spend some money and get an IT solution. The problem is going to be solved. It is not going to happen that way. It will never happen that way. And probably I'll try to touch upon a little more in detail. And probably in the Q&A session, we can really deliberate on this. If somebody has got a doubt clarification, we can discuss very much in detail. So in a digital transformation, in my view, it has got some 4 stages. 1, acquiring the IT solution. And second, adoption of IT solution. And the third important stage is MIS reporting and controlling cost control. These are all the measures has to be done in the stage number 3. And stage number 4, sustaining and improving on an ongoing basis. So these are all the 4 stages the digital transformation it goes through in the industries. So probably, I thought what will be the good example for me to put. This is what I thought would be a good example. So you are able to see a flute. How long does it take to buy a flute? Okay, online you go and order. Probably within 2 days they will deliver it, right? How long does it take to learn and master the flute? Nobody knows, right? Probably it may take 3 months, it may take 6 months, or probably most of the houses. I also got a flute. It is still sitting there in my. That's it. So I could never be able to use. So we all know, we buy the flute by looking at the flute vendor playing it. Okay, that fellow plays very nicely. So we thought we also will play. We will be just blowing it like a whistle, and it is all done, right? So all I am saying is, when you acquire IT, it is not equal to your adopting for IT. So acquiring IT is the most easiest thing. Okay, I want everybody to mark my words. Acquiring IT is the most easiest thing. You just go subscribe or pay money, they will just deliver and go, right? But all we should know is we got to spend lot of time to gain mastery over it, right? It's a very disciplined way of working it. So buying a flute and becoming a master of the flute, that is what we are now going to talk about. So acquiring IT has got only two fundamental, steps. One, a feature fit. Second, the price fit, right? When I say the feature fit, how do I know that, whether the solution is going to be suitable for me? I just quickly want to talk about, when we implemented a solution for a German company, they have been looking for our solution over a large ERP system. When they have been looking for a solution, our product, when they have been evaluating, they made a very, very simple stuff. I think it's a very eye-opening experience for all of us also. What they said, we know our business requirement. Can you create a test scenario and we will give you the data, and we want to know all the scenario. You put data and show it to us, and so that we will be able to sign up the application, right? So what they have done, they have given some 4 customers, they have given about some 5 suppliers, and 3 bill of materials. Some of that were multi-level BOM, and they said, okay, now start running, put the value for this, so we know what is the cost of the product. And they said run a sales cycle and do a purchase cycle and material shortfall, procurement, production plan, and then material procurement, issue to the production, and then booking of all the financial vouchers. And they also had a cost of goods JV. So they got a COGS JV concept. So we have mapped all these things and showed them the demo. They also said we also send material for subcontract and bring it back, right? So we have mapped all these process. It took about 5 days for us. So we are given a 5 days continuous demonstration for them for a half a day every day, because their team also has to do their other works. So 5 half a days we have devoted and gave them a demo. They said by end of that, they told, we find your application fit, we are signing the contract with you. So all I am saying is, a complex manufacturing company essentially takes only 2.5 days, full days of time to evaluate the system. That's all, right? It is not very difficult. All I am saying is the feature fit part of it, you got to definitely evaluate the system. And the most important thing is price fit, right? If the price is not coming within your budget, okay, most of the time people think I will buy the best solution on the earth and it is going to solve the problem. It may not really solve the problem, right? It will not give you ROI at all, right? This is something, we need to remember very clearly. So the feature fit and price fit is very important. I have some information which is to support this in my next slide. One is the pre-order evaluation. So we should have a shopping list before we go for the purchase. So we have to have an entire list of our requirement we need to have. And the collective demo has to happen with the entire team of the company, okay? HODs, project manager, everybody need to be present. Everybody need to evaluate the system. And all the use cases need to be captured. You need to, put the data integration, spend enough time to evaluate the solution, which is going to meet your business requirement. Net to net, the standard product that has to meet at almost 90% of your business requirement. When I say 90, it should be more than 90. It should not be less than 90. And 100% statutory requirement to be covered. If the statutory requirements are not covered in the product, you don't have to really waste your time, because they may not be able to bring the product and take it live. And budget and time frame is very important. If the budget is not affordable, the time frame at which it is going to get implemented is going to be very extended. People will lose interest, because most of the time, I also mentioned here, many of the implementation goes unsuccessful due to cost overrun and time overrun. This is very important. And most importantly, you got to check the customer reference. Speak to the customers, and if possible, if you have got any customers nearby, you can go visit and see how they are using the application if they are in a non-competing business, right? So this is for the solution. This is for the identifying the solution, right? This is step number 1. Step number 2 is the adoption of the solution, okay? I have put, two pictures here. You could see. One is the solo guy who's doing a stunt on the bike, okay? This is what really happens for you when people are working independently. So this is what happens, right? So when you are talking about digital transformation, this is what has to happen. Look at the picture which is there in the bottom. Okay, there are about 10 bikes, there are about 100 people. They got to move together in a most synchronized way. This is a digital transformation, right? We are definitely not looking for individual heroes here at all. It is as a team they have to perform well, right? The adoption stage is most important. So the common goal definition is extremely important by the management team. So this is what we want to achieve out of our IT adoption, right? And the management team has to be involved, the user has to be involved. The importance of project management I also covered in the next slide. I will talk about it. And there are a couple of quick points in the transaction level. Let's say master data management, cutoff for the opening balance migration, and a transaction entry and go live, and the stop legacy. Stop legacy is you are going to stop your working application. You want to move to the new application, right? This is really very important, which has to happen. So in the adoption stage, in my personal experience, I have seen many of the companies, the employees who have been working long enough with the organization, unfortunately, they may not favor IT system because they will actually have a fear that they will lose their importance, right? And you will be surprised. I have seen in some companies, even at the director level, okay, in the board level, there are certain board members are not favoring the IT solution, maybe because of their vested interest, right? This will be very shocking for you, but I have seen in my experience, I'm just, letting you all know, but these kind of challenges would come. The adoption phase is a most critical phase. So this purely depends on the organization culture. Unless the organization, they are going to adopt, say that we are going to transform to go, this is not going to happen. This is not an easy thing which is going to happen, right? This is almost like, doing a highway project. When we travel from highway, national highway, we find the travel is so good. Just imagine whether it is a private agency or government agency trying to acquire the land and, putting the road and, bring the infrastructure up for us to go and move. After the highway comes, the journey is fantastic. But the process of highway is not easy. The adoption stage is something exactly similar to your highway land acquisition. Unless you are going to acquire the mind share of the people, mind share of the board, and worse come, probably you need to compromise some of the people. Okay, you have to let people go who are not going to favor the project. Unless the organization has got that kind of a strong belief and thing, the full IT implementation will not happen. Because I've seen many other companies, they take a solution, they try to implement it, some other people have not accepted, they leave it so that they start working those things in the Excel sheet, and then half will be working in the IT solution, half will be the Excel sheet. The pains are very, very, way higher. Okay, that's very important. I wanted to bring it here. In the adoption stage, we have to be very careful, and this is most critical for us. And I also want to quickly touch upon the project management here, which is part of the adoption. A project manager, either he could be a CEO or a person who's been busy here. The project has to be given to a senior guy who have got a genuine interest to put the project live, right? That's very important. And it's always, you can also think of a neutral agency who can do this work, and they need not be a ERP expert. Okay, all they have to do is make sure whatever has been committed, whether has been done or not, track all the implementation, follow up, and bring about meetings when there are some problems and ego clashes, sit and resolve it and take it forward. Okay, some problems would happen, we should not go back. All I am saying is we should see to that it is going for the destination. Keep the project on track towards the destination all time. Any small deviation will lead to the derailment 100%, right? So this is something very important part of adoption. And the third phase, what I was talking about, the MIS reporting and controlling. So this is a third phase. If you look at our ROI on the IT investment will come only here. It is not when you buy, it is not when you implement it. Okay, even a fully implemented system will not give ROI for you. The ROI only come when you are going to have a nice BA tool, the dashboards are created, the reports are coming from there, so that the statutory compliances are going on, auditing is going on, cost controls are going on, physical verification, your non-moving, slow-moving stock, performances, and customer service, on-time delivery, inventory control, cash flow management. There are many things are there. I have just put very few here. When all these things are going to happen, this is where the ROI is going to come for the organization. Okay. And last but not the least is sustaining and improving. So sustaining and improving is a very, very important phase, because even after implementation, I have found in some of the organizations, when some new person joins, he will say this is not the way we have to work, this is to be completely changed. Do not allow that to happen. If you look at banks, just because a new bank manager is coming, he is going to bring a new software for his bank, it's not going to happen, right? So you have to give a lot of respect and importance for the IT system, and you got to deliberate with the people. Why are they asking it? What is to be changed? What business value it is going to give? And of course, definitely improvements are welcome. It has to happen. But all I am saying is, do not go for drastic change, because that will rock the boat. It's not worth it. And I've also found companies who don't maintain the master data on the ongoing basis. I have found them after using the system for about 8 years, 9 years, the whole ERP goes for a 6, because a lot of duplicate suppliers have come, duplicate items have come, lot of duplicate bill of materials are created. When anything happens like that, the whole database will lose the integrity. You will not be able to use the system all right, right? And any new statutory requirements on an ongoing basis, it should be keep on getting incorporated. But all these things, I can say with a lot of conviction, these things will happen on cloud more easily, because the cloud team will bring us a version upgrade. They keep improving the product. In the cloud, the best advantage is a feature which has been added for some other customer will be available for everybody, because they are going to maintain the one instance of the application. These are the bigger advantages when you are moving on to the cloud, right? So these are all the things I just thought I will share for today. So probably we can have a discussion on this. Any doubts or anything, then we can discuss, and any questions I will be more happy to address now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your very informative and precise presentation.
Thank you.
Any question answers from the audience?
Yeah. Mr. Vijay, I in fact posted a question that, in case of a mid-sized CA firm want to go on cloud,
okay,
what is going to be the average cost? You posted some estimate of 1.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs or something like that, right? I want, can you elaborate on it?
Sure, I'll do. Because this is the information, Mr. Nagapan, this has been talked in the particular article. They have been mentioning about the 5 lakh of investment which has been happening by the SME industry, that can be reduced to 1.5 lakhs. Okay, when you say 5 lakhs, what happens? They'll have a server, they have to maintain a AC room, they'll be maintaining one system administrator, all those things, right? When you actually move all these things to a cloud, right? So I can also give you some of the cloud providers. There's a company called E2E Networks. Okay, they are a very low-cost cloud providers. E2E Networks. They use the NetMagic backbone. There are other users also like Azure. Other places are there. So definitely, you can also evaluate E2E Networks. Okay, we are using the backbone. So when you actually put it on cloud, the cost of server maintenance, everything would actually come down. You will be able to access the information from everywhere. And that way the cost will actually come down. So when you talk about the CA firms want to use cloud, I think most of the applications now currently the CA firms are using, everything is online, right, for you?
Yeah, Tally is online.
Most of the things are online, right? So also move your email server, everything to a cloud, take a domain and you can move all those things. And you can also, it is very important, the CA organization, every organization should have a good documentation method. What is the process? You can use WhatsApp groups, right? For every customer, you use a WhatsApp group, and it will be very easy for you to track, whether their monthly filing, the GST filings, and their, annual returns, the balance sheet, whether everything is done or not. You can use WhatsApp group, and very importantly, you can use, Zoho documents and, Google Docs, G Suite, all these things. Probably I am slightly nervous when people use, Excel sheet in their local machine. I am really nervous. I always tell them, anything you are using personal, you put it in your, local machine. If it is official, it has to be only on cloud, right? G Suite, it should be only on cloud. It is shared with all the respective people. Very important. So if we can start doing all these things, I think the transformation will really help. And I would certainly say many of the audit firms, they still ask the people to come to office and work. Slowly you can start, the matured people who are able to operate, you can tell them they need not come to office, right? So you need to, you also have to have a calibration for the people, onboarding. Right from onboarding, you can actually develop methods. There are methods to do it, right? I can share some, the work from home culture, how people share data, how the meetings are conducted. You can all do these things in a very systematic way. You can move all the people home. Nobody need to come to office at all.
Good evening, Mr. Vijay. Nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
The being topic of the day is cloud-based tools for MSMEs. I
Correct.
think you attempted to say broadly how to do, what do you mean by adoption,
Correct.
and how to ensure the proper implementation, then mindset, all those things, fantastic.
Correct.
But as an example, can you throw some example tools available to the MSMEs?
Okay.
From your company also, some other company also,
Sure.
example so that people can catch it and make it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will probably I will talk about some 2-3 tools here. One is Zoho has got many of the small utilities like Zoho books are there, and Zoho has got a lot of tools, and it's all very affordably priced, right? That is something people can start using that. Okay, that is something they can think of. One is the cloud migration is essential. See, the most important thing here is anything we use, it has to be on cloud, and with all the security which has been maintained there, so that the application availability is really highly important. The availability of the application, right? Anything put on premise, and definitely many people would have had the experience, server is going down, we don't know the reason, data is crashed, something has happened. So these are all the things doesn't happen on a cloud environment, because it has been more secured, and they have got proper firewalls, they have got a proper team to maintain it, and they also have images which has been taken for every 6 hours. Something goes wrong, your entire instance can be restored within 1 hour on a new VM. Assuming that the server has got crashed, the 6-hour backup can, image can be restored within 1 hour. They can bring back the business. So this business continuity, all those things becomes important. Okay, one is Zoho documents. Zoho utilities I can definitely share here, with very small companies can use, right? And when you are talking about the companies who are into manufacturing, definitely you need to look for a ERP system. Probably I can give our example in that place, because we are competing with a lot of big players in the market in the manufacturing space. So we have the complete suite end to end to take care of the manufacturing industry's requirement. Predominantly, Mr. Suresh, I would say last 3 to 4 years, okay, we don't even have a single on-premise implementation at all. Everything is coming on cloud now. Because even the bigger companies, the only difference is small companies, they go for a shared cloud. Okay, that is also equally safe and secure. And some larger companies, because of the corporate policy of the privacy, they go for a dedicated server. They say we don't want other people's data, I will put my own data. So they probably would be spending around some 60-70% extra for the storage, but they say that is also cost effective for them when compared to a on-premise implementation. So here the best advantage for them is they get support everything online. See, for us the training is online, implementation support everything is online. We create a WhatsApp group, and then when they post there is an issue problem or there's a support required, one of the guys would actually jump and he will see that, he will close the issue in the WhatsApp group itself. So there's a visibility for everybody, right?
Yeah, ultimately, as you said, the ROI will happen only if you derive proper MIS from this.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any further questions?
You have not included criteria for selecting the cloud partner. I think that's more important.
Okay.
I'm talking about the cloud partner, not that, because sometimes what happens is that fellow says that I won't give you the old data and all sorts of things, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, this is again a slightly complex. When you are going for utilizing your own application which has been hosted on a cloud, you have a complete control, right? When you are actually going for a third-party application which is hosted in a cloud environment, as you rightly said, it actually gets complex. We got to really make our contract very clear, right? When they say when we are going to exit, we want an on-premise installation to be given for an ongoing basis. Let's say somebody uses a cloud for about 8 years, 10 years of a time. Then they want to migrate to some other application. Then the application moving on to the new application, data migration. these are all to be definitely written as part of the contract. That's something very important. And what is very important is we also need to have the data backup available on premise. The final instance has to be installed on premise, so that the data has to be available for 7 years or 10 years for all the government and agencies need to maintain the record. So it has to be maintained. So you've got to ask them to provide a on-premise installation, or probably a single user of cloud installation. You need to have access only to view the reports. Exactly. I think today most of the cloud providers they give, and most of the CRM applications they also provide options for you to export the data, export the client list, the customer call records, all those things. They will allow you to export to the CSV file or Excel file. You can download and keep it in your system. And most of the CRM system also give intercompatibility from one system to another system. Yeah, I mean all these things are important. We need to evaluate that. Very important.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Any further questions? Can we conclude the session? May I now invite Mr. V. Nagappan, President-elect Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chitra, and good evening, friends. It was a very crisp and very interesting session, which is very useful to many of us. And I would like to thank Vijay for such a wonderful presentation, which gave us a idea about what MSMEs can do and take advantage of. As far as the ERP is concerned, I read, Mr. Vijay, I should tell you that I read your interesting article on the Kumbhakonam Mangalambika.
Mangalambika.
Yeah, comparing ERP with South Indian meals. That was a very interesting way to put things, in a simple way to reach out to people like me.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much for agreeing and coming to our, coming and addressing us. And would like to thank Computer Society of India and its office bearers, and the committee chairman, expert committee chairman, and his team. And would like to thank all the participants and the members. President has already mentioned that on 15th we have the Women's Day celebration between 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So I would request you to nominate your members and other staff, anyone is there interested. All the details about the various programs what we are conducting is available online in our social media handle, in our Twitter handle of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, as well as the FB page, Facebook page. It is available. I would request you to see that and follow us there. So, get information about the programs what we do in the future. There will be a program on budget analysis. I mean, we did a program on budget analysis recently. Finally, I would, before I conclude, I would request Mr. Vijay to send us an article for our journal. I mean, this is an interesting presentation, but about, some of our members are not, all our members are not able to participate today. It will be useful if you can send us an article based on this. And I would like to thank the Secretariat, Mrs. Chitra, for the wonderful arrangement they have made. And thank you very much. Looking forward to see you again. So thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. I'll certainly do that. And I also shared my presentation in the chat box. So somebody would like to, take it, they can just copy and take it there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ji, is it over?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vijay.
Thank you, Vijay. We will continue and get in touch with you for future programs.
Definitely, sir. I'm so glad. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, and IT issues. Definitely.
Sure, definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan. Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan, Chitra madam,
Thank you.
Mr. Nagappan, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.